Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 8, Episode 49. DJI 0 Hour is almost here. Hope everyone is doing well. We got a full crew in here tonight. You guys are on the spot. Johnny on the spot here. No pun intended. Bud is here. Joni Oki is here. RJ Redding. Let's see who else we got. DD Fellows. Joni Oki is here. Bud Bieber's here. RJ Redding. Thank you. I'm going to post that up there right away from DD Fellows. Looks like Avada 360 in January now. I hope not either. Let's see who else here. Okay. All right. And Johnny's here. I know I saw Johnny as well. Let's see. Art is here. Welcome, Art. John is here. Welcome, John. Welcome, John. Let's see who else we got here. Lauren. Welcome, Lauren. Mad Props Media. Okay. All right. Got a full house tonight. 2 weeks coming on. By the way, where do I 0 hour? Have any of you, and I got to ask a question here. Okay. I'm digress for just a second here. How many of you ever seen the movie 0 Hour? Does that ring a bell at all? And if it does, drop a comment and let me know, and I'll post that up there. But how many of you ever seen that movie? And I'm trying to remember the actor's name. Very famous actor. I was going to say Darren McGavin, but not him. Name slips my mind from now. But very famous actor was in it. But the movie 0 Hour. So double nope. Okay. All right. Dana Andrews. Okay. It was Dana. Yeah. Dana Andrews was in that. That's the movie. 0 Hour was the movie that the very famous comedy Airplane was based on. 0 Hour was about a flight up in Canada, and both the pilots got food poisoning, and Ted Stryker, same name, okay, World War II pilot who crashed his plane back in World War II, or got some people killed, had to come in and pilot the plane. So, and if you guys remember the old Dick Van Dyke Show, okay, and you remember the dentist that was on the Dick Van Dyke Show, the next door neighbor, Jerry, he was in the movie, okay, but Dana Andrews was in it. It's a great movie. It's hard to find. I'm not sure if Amazon has it or not, but it's called 0 Hour. If you guys ever get a chance to watch it, it's a very well done movie. But that's the movie that the very famous movie Airplane is based on. It totally is. So okay, all right, going from there. All right. So got a lot to talk about tonight. Ron's going to join me, and the top of the hour we're going to be doing Steeler Nation here, just to kind of give you guys a little, kind of set the table here and let you guys know about that. We are officially 2 weeks from 0 Hour, which is D-Day. Today's December the 9th. Okay, I want to get my days right. Golly. Well, next week at this time, we're going to be 100% packed, ready to go, because we're heading up to Ohio for our, not for Christmas, but we're going to be up there for about 5 or 6 days, seeing the two best granddaughters in the world, and my children as well too. So yeah, but I kind of have to throw them in there as well. They kind of sort of, it kind of comes with the package there. So, but we're really looking forward to it. We're looking forward to it so much. Valor and I bought new winter coats this year. Okay. And believe it or not, it ended up dumb luck. We both got burgundy coats. All right. And I got a really good deal. There's a company called King Size, and they have really good prices. And I ended up getting it. Actually, it's made by King Size, but it was on Kohl's. on their website, and Valerie got hers off of Amazon, but they're almost like carbon copies. I'm like, we're gonna look like the Bobbsey twins. I don't know. Yeah, Joni Okie. I agree. Okay, and I'll give you a yeah, that's what I heard, Dutch. Yeah, I heard it's. I've been keeping an eye on the winter, and you have to understand something here. Valerie is, say she's originally from Florida. She moved to Florida from Illinois, so she spent till she was about 8 or 9 out in Illinois. So she knew what winter was like. She doesn't really remember it. But there's one thing she absolutely abhors. It's being cold. Okay, it was so funny, and I gotta share this anecdote. Okay, and we'll get into the show here. This is funny. All right, our temperatures have kind of been up and down, mostly still good up in the 80s. Okay. The other day it was 82 degrees. Okay. 82. All right. I mean, I'm in my shorts. I mean, it's humid. All right. God bless my beautiful wife. We're in the car. She has her sweater on and she turned the seat warmer on. Okay. Kid you not. All right. Kid you not. Love of my life. All right. It's 82 degrees. People are sweating bullets out there. And there's my beautiful wife. She has a sweater on and she has a seat warmer on. It's one of those things, Valerie has to have her cup of coffee in the morning. Valerie also has to be warm as well, too. So that's that there. How you guys like my shirt? Okay. We're getting into the spirit of the season with the Panthers. 1-2 in a row. Okay. We're going to climb back up that ladder here slowly but surely. So, all right. And it was good talk. It was good seeing Alex on last night. And Joe, by the way, that was a great Joe Nation last night. Very good show. Guys did a great job. That was absolutely fantastic. Absolutely great. Okay. All right. We got drone stuff to talk about, believe it or not. Okay. And I know a lot of you guys, and I wanted to talk about this first. I put my video out, and it was a short video, but on everything that I had at the time that's come in that I purchased. To be ready for what's going to transpire on December 23rd. And I got a lot of comments on that. No, I did not, John. I bought a ton of stuff from South Korea, and I've never got that. Now, one of the things that I want to say, and I'll get back to my story here in a second. One of the things that I want to say about that is I look through and I vet all these sellers. And it will say in the listing itself, and even eBay has it as well, is that the seller pays the fees. Okay. So, look for that in the listing. That's one thing that I can encourage you guys to do. If you're making purchases from eBay, but, all right. Ho, ho, ho. All right. Moving on here. Okay. About my video. All right. A lot of comments on it. Almost a lot of them were very positive and very good, that I was doing a smart thing, because let's say there isn't a quote unquote, and I'm going to use the word drone ban. Let's say there isn't a drone ban. I'll still be good, because if I want to, I can sell things. Okay. And people will buy them. I can sell them at market value. All right. If there is a ban, okay, and there's some things I don't need, I can sell them and probably have some profit. But also too, I'll be prepared if a ban hits, that, I'm not out there scrambling to find a battery for my Mini 5 Pro or my Neo 2, because I have, like, for example, for the Neo 2, I have 6 batteries. I got 3 extra ones. And I'm working on getting a couple more I have an extra one for the Mini 5 Pro. I think 2 of them. I'm going to get another one there. I have 2 for the Mavic 4 Pro. As you guys know, I just bought a Mavic 3 Pro, and there's going to be a video coming out on that. I got 2 extra batteries for that as well. And my Air 3S, I have 2 extra batteries for that as well. So, be prepared is all I'm saying here. And then we're going to talk about that here in a minute here. But it's better to, same for me, Dale. Same for me. I've been absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. So, okay. All right. First topic for tonight. Okay. Well, it's Christmas, and DJI can offer very little to us on sale, but what they do offer on sale is actually pretty doggone good. And I want to share the first article from Joan DJ about that right now. So let's go ahead and get that up here. All right. DJI throws huge holiday discounts on power stations. Okay. The DJI Power 2000, which is absolutely their best deal. It's original $12.99. It's now on sale for $6.99. That's roughly 46% discount. 2048 watt hours battery, and delivers a continuous 3,000 watts output, enabling to power most household appliances from refrigerator and lights to even induction cookers. Meanwhile, the Power 1000 D2 was reduced from $469 to $399. So those are a couple of things that you can buy right now that are available on DJI's website here in the US. And I'm actually considering probably the 2000 because I have $175 DJI credit. And if I don't use it probably this year, I think I'm probably going to end up losing it. So I'm going to make a decision before the 23rd on that. And I'll probably go with getting something like that Power 2000 because, again, it's either use it or lose it. That $175, I'm just going to go ahead and jump in and use it. So might as well. I mean, it's just kind of got to. That's the lay of the land here. Oh, and as a side note, as a segue between talking points tonight, Valerie is in the middle of decorating the house. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas around here. She absolutely loves doing that. And one of the things that she does say for both of us to do is to decorate the tree together. Okay. She'll get the tree up. She'll get a lot of the, hey, Ron, how are you, sir?
Hello, Bill. How are you tonight?
Good. Just telling everybody that we're getting in the Christmas spirit. You can look at my shirt here. Okay. It's my Florida Panthers Christmas shirt. Getting in the spirit of things. Valerie's got the tree set up. We're going to be decorating it probably this weekend. And she's got a lot of other decorations set up, which is good. So,
I'm ahead of you. We got the tree up, but I got the outdoor decorations done just this weekend. So we kind of got the hard part out of the way here. But and I do want to say I'm looking forward to Steeler Nation. It was a great weekend. Mike Tomlin has taken control of the AFC North by beating their rivals, the Ravens. So it looks like the Steelers are have the best path to the division title this year.
Well, I got some thoughts I'm going to share about that, but
we'll save those for later. Yeah,
we'll save those for later. But one of them was, and I saw somebody post this. Okay, the Steelers could finish at 7-9 and still win the division.
Has that ever happened before?
We'll
talk about that later. We don't want to.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. Okay. Well, Tampa has done it. Okay, so but needless to say, okay, just talked about DJI has the Power 2000 and Power 1000 on sale right now. The Power 2000 has been knocked down like 46%. It's down to $699. And I was just telling everybody, I think I have about $180 in DJI credit. And I think this year, it'll go away if I don't use it.
So you might as well get it.
I think I might just go ahead and pull the trigger and get that out there because I can use that $180 towards it and will really bring that price down.
Well, I can maybe, that other deal, the Power 1000 V2, they have a V2, which is, I think is twice as powerful as V1. On Black Friday, on Black Friday around that weekend, I know Amazon had it like below $400. It was $390 some dollars. That was a tremendous deal.
Yeah, that was really good. I think it's like what? Just had that up there.
It popped back up in price after that, though.
Yeah, it went to $399. It's at $399 now. So
okay, it's back it down again. Yeah. That's,
So it's at a nice. And you know what? They're absolutely fantastic. I've read reviews about them, and they are really well. And the nice thing about their ecosystem is, for example, if you want to get solar panels to hook that up, it's all plug and play. Okay, there's no anything special that you have to do or anything, and it works. And I've read things on that because that's one of the things that I would get would be the solar adapters to be able to charge something like that. And the Power 2000 is great enough. I mean, it could run a refrigerator. It could run like an induction stove. I
Yeah.
mean, it's pretty powerful. So I mean, that's something that would
It should
go
be a hurricane helper for you, right? Right.
absolutely, absolutely. Even
And
though
what
we have the
a lot of people go on, there's a whole bunch of people make power stations. A lot of people make ones that have even better specs than the DJI ones, Bill. But the thing about DJI that none of the others have, they have the special ports where you can get adapters from DJI and they'll power your drones up faster than any other power station using the special ports for those adapters. I don't know the
absolutely,
terminology and all that,
absolutely,
but
yeah.
they have special things. They power the drone up faster than anything else by the special circuitry.
Well, one of the other things right now that's on sale, and we're going to be going over some of the things here, and everything that we're talking about, I've dropped links in the description for you guys.
Okay.
The Neo 2, obviously we've been talking about that, and I just put out a video the other day about my flight in the wind, which was a great, I thought it was a great flight. But the
Mhm.
Neo, the original Neo, is down to $159 on Amazon right now, Ron. That is
Yeah.
insane.
That
That is
that was
absolutely
that it was
insane.
that price for Black Friday also. So that price has, been there for a little
Yeah,
while.
I went out to double check that before airtime, and it still shows as $159, and that's fantastic. So,
Yes.
if you're looking to get a gift or give a gift of a drone for Christmas, that you can't go wrong with $159. I mean, that's just absolutely awesome. And spend a little more, get the controller, if you want to do something like that. But if you just want to get a basic drone to somebody, $159 is an absolute total
Especially
steal.
somebody that say, they're not really into drones like us. They're going to mess around with the drone every once in a while. They may get it out or whatever. The Neo 1 will be fine for somebody that just wants to use it once a month or something like that. Or,
Exactly.
yeah.
Somebody that's not looking for, the state of the art gimbal and obstacle avoidance and everything. Just be able to throw the drone up there, get some video pictures and shoot it and have some
Of
fun.
course, the Neo 2 has improved tracking, but the Neo 1 tracking is fine. Nothing wrong
Yeah.
with the Neo
For
1 tracking. Not everybody has to walk through an obstacle course for the tracking. I mean, some people have basic tracking. The Neo 1's fine for that.
okay. The Neo Flymore combo is 229. The Neo Motion Flymore combo is 419. And of course, the Neo drone only is 159. So again, go out there and check those deals out on Amazon.
And that combo could be a good option because we know you're lucky if you get 10 minutes out of one of these Neo batteries.
Yeah, and that's why I now have a total of 6 Neo batteries, and I'm probably going to get a couple more before the 23rd run because really in essence I can tell you it's about 10 minutes on those batteries and it's ready to you got to come home. I mean that's it for the batteries. So
Yeah, and that's 10 minutes if you're not doing a lot of some of those pre-planned
mhm.
modes and flying around. You could even be less than 10 minutes if you're running hard.
Exactly. Now, Sean put out a great video here, and I just kind of want to touch base on that Neo 2 vehicle tracking. He did a great. Sean always one
Mhm.
thing I love about Sean Ron. He doesn't. It's not a lot of fluff. He gets directly into it, and he states it as it is. And it was a great review video that he did on that. That's something I would definitely encourage you to watch. Um, uh, you know, as far as that's concerned. Bottom line controller required for vehicle tracking. So that tells you the bottom line there of what you do have to do. You can't use the Neo 2 standalone to do something like that. You need to have a controller with that.
And
But
Bill, this is how much people's expectations are high on these drones. One of the comments that from Sean's video was they were disappointed that they couldn't just reach their hand out the window of the car with the drone and have it track or whatever. I mean, some people just aren't happy, with anything, right?
yeah, absolutely. So but all in all, it was a great review that Sean did out there. It really kind of lends some perspective on things, and and realize a lot of people, Ron, and I think this started originally. I remember when I tried to do some tracking originally with a Spark way back when,
Right.
about 8 or 9 years ago, and it was kind of hit or miss. I mean, it would keep a lock for a while, then the object would go under a tree, it would lose the lock, and then it would find it again, and all this kind of stuff. And I did the first subject that I used Valerie and our dog walking down the street to track them, and it worked pretty well until they went under the tree, and then it reacquired them. And I actually did. This was pretty cool. I had the original Mavic Pro up. I had the Spark up at the same time. Of course, Valerie was there helping me watch that. I was remote pilot in charge, but I actually tracked the Mini Pro, or the Mavic Pro, with the Spark, and it worked for about maybe 30 seconds until it got disconnected. But I was able to successfully do that. I mean, if you want to look it up, that video's out there. It's from 8-9 years ago, but it worked for what it's worth.
That's glad you said 8-9 years ago, because the Spark. I mean, for its day, the tracking was amazing. Now it doesn't look so good, but in its era, it was very good.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. Yeah. Was it the first DJI drone to have tracking? I think it was.
I think it was. Yeah.
And probably the first drone period, nobody else had tracking. Certainly, the Phoebes and Hubs in the world didn't have tracking.
Well, they tried a lot with the Spark, and give them some credit. Not all of it worked. The hand motions and things like that were problematic, and the tracking was problematic and everything. But hey, it was a small drone. It was DJI's attempt at their first attempt at a small drone, as far as that's concerned. Well, the big news here that we just had, the absolute total big news, is the anti-gravity A1 is officially for sale. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at this article here.
And let me put more on that. Officially on sale in the U.S.
Officially on sale in the U.S. Yes. Thank you, Ron. Anti-gravity's A1 360 video drone is now available for purchase. Okay. What is the anti-gravity? I mean, we've talked about this. I'm not going to go over some of this. It lists the specs here. 8K 30 frames per second 360 video with higher frame rates available at lower resolutions. And it's an X5 in a drone. I mean, people were talking about that FPV only. We all know about the goggles, and it talked about, so how do you fly in contrast to DJI's look and fly way of doing things? Anti-gravity is doing a point and fly method. And there's an article we're going to talk about here in a second.
You can just take that motion control and point in a certain direction, and drone will fly there, Bill.
Exactly. All the power from Insta360, and again, I want to make sure that people understand something regarding this, that Insta360 is not who is making the drone. It's anti-gravity who is making the drone. They are using an Insta360 camera system embedded in the drone. Just want to make sure. I know we've said it before.
Technology, whatever, which is invaluable, because the hardest thing to get right for a new drone maker, Bill, over the years has been the camera, right? New drone makers may make a drone that flies decent, but usually the camera's got problems. Right here, they come in with a known kind of leader in the field, so they got the camera knocked off right off the start.
Exactly here. Now, pricing has been a point of contention, and I've seen that everywhere I've looked on, in every video and everything. Everybody has said that to a
It's a lot of pushback on the price, Bill.
It's $15.99. Two more bundles exist for $18.99. The Infinity bundle for $19.99. Okay, and I want to stop right here for a second, and Ron, I think what they should have done, and this is just me, hindsight's always 20/20, the old saying goes. I think in this instance here, I think if they had come out first, say with a mini drone, okay, like a mini 4K type of drone, something along those lines, okay, show us that they can make a drone and make it work and have a normal controller and everything, and then come out with a 360 drone as a second or a follow-up drone to that. I think this would have boded very well for them. And to have done the mini 4K right, and to price it right, say $500 or under, attracting people, maybe $750 with a built-in remote control kind of a thing, like we have with the DJI drones, just to get people's taste wet, just to let them know, we can build a drone, and we can build a drone well, and then go ahead and progress to something like the anti-gravity A1 Insta360, where you have to do the goggles and can do Insta360, but they jump right into this with both feet.
Bill, do you believe that the goggles and the 360 technology, I mean, not just the hardware, but the 360 technology, that's what jumped that price up so high?
Yeah, I think so, because their technology for the drone itself, they had to integrate the technology from the drone with the Insta360 camera. And, you know, I'm not an electrical engineer. I don't know how they do all of that, but I think it was better. I think they looked at Insta360 saying, you know, you guys have a good system. We want to integrate it into the drone. The Insta360 said, absolutely, let's do this. Okay. They didn't hesitate for something like this. But you also have to remember too, and as you well know, Insta360s, you know, on the most part, you know, they're getting a lot less expensive, but you know, there's a price point there. I mean, you know, you gotta, I mean, pay the piper as far as that's concerned.
I mean, the X5, their flagship 360 camera, goes for $500 when it's not in sale.
Exactly.
And I'm sure, so that's $500. I'm sure those goggles, they probably cost over $500 too. So there's $1,000 in non-drone technology.
Absolutely. Bud, I have no, I'm answering Bud Bieber, but I have no control over the ads that come up here. Okay. That's from the article from Drone DJ. I'm sorry. I have zero control of that. You know, I can move the screen and stuff, but again, you know, I have zero control over things like that. So, and now I'm want to go to the next article that we have up here that talked about, and let me bring that up. You know, it was mentioned in this first article about look and fly versus point and fly. All right. And there's an article that they have here. And again, everything is in Build a Drone Reviewer Facebook group and page. And it talks about it. DJI comes first with FPV, Avata, and Avata 2. All right. And, you know, this was the start of DJI's look and fly system that truly made flying an FPV drone as easy as just thinking about what you wanted to do and then doing it. The look and fly system is as easy as it sounds. When using the motion controller and wearing DJI's flight goggles, you'll see a little circle wherever you look. This is thanks to the goggles having eye tracking capabilities to know exactly where you're looking at all times, okay? To fly the Avata, all you have to do is look and pull the trigger on the motion controller. The drone will begin to fly in that direction, all right? Anti-gravity's groundbreaking A1 in the new system. It has two cameras, one above and one below, to capture 360 video around it. This allows you to not have to worry about framing and just focus on the light. The 360 video mode, which is live when you're wearing the drone's flight goggles, creates a bird-like sensation when flying the A1. You can look down to see the streets below, track your subject while you perform an orbit, and look wherever you're flying as your subject passes below you. With the addition of 360 video, it really does shake things up, okay? To ensure you can fly wherever you want and aren't limited to just where you're looking, anti-gravity implemented a point and flight method. This relies on motion tracking of the company's grip controller, okay? The grip controller by anti-gravity is pretty much the same as DJI's motion controller. However, it has more features for flying the drone. To fly the anti-gravity A1, you simply point the controller and press the trigger. One to fly up, point it up, fly down, point it down. Got to fly backwards, just turn around and start flying, okay? Pair this with a live 360 view. It's experience I hope everyone can have at least once. Truly magical. And I want to stop right here. And I know you guys touched upon it a little bit last night on Drone Nation, which, by the way, was a great episode last night. One of the things that I wanted to say here, and I don't know if somebody brought it up in the comments or on the panel here, but the method that anti-gravity has right here could lead to accidents, Ron. Not to say that the system that DJI uses doesn't lead to accidents. I think it's more intuitive. I think it's more natural. Okay. I think what anti-gravity has done is, I mean, it could really mess up your orientation. Okay. As far as, you know, the 360 sphere kind of a thing, which may be too much for your senses to take in. And you could easily, I mean, even for people who do fly with goggles all the time, could get easily disoriented with something like that and crash.
Especially first timers that aren't used to wearing goggles or flying FPV. Now, Bill, they do have one thing that's kind of innovative. When you're in that screen you're talking about, I think they call it free fly or free form or something like that. You can pop up a window in that immersive 360 view that shows you what's right in front of the drone, a little pop-up window. So if you're confused, you know, where you're flying versus where you're looking, you can pop up a window that's always going to show you what's right in front of the drone. So that is kind of a nice safety feature. And basically this free mode they have is kind of like head tracking on the Avata drone, where, you know, you can look around if you know, you can look sideways and still fly straight or whatever. So, but with that little pop-up window is a little more safer, I think, than DJI system. I mean, I don't have the A1. I'm just going on the, you know, the 50 A1 videos I've watched in the last week or whatever. But yeah, but I see your point, Bill. For a beginner, I would recommend to be really careful the early flights.
Yeah, and you know, and the final conclusion here, it's kind of like, you know, it's in the eye of the beholder. You know, DJI system you feel more like a fighter pilot. It uses that analogy. The A1 makes you feel more like a bird. You know, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. It's all subject to personal interpretation. And I think for me, I think probably something that would be more intuitive for people. And I know you since you have the Avata 2 as well, and I know others in the chat like Johnny have it as well. You know, I think it's more intuitive to fly something like that, and I think it would probably be, you know, people would say, you know, it would be a very interesting transition to go from, say, an Avata 2 to an anti-gravity A1, you know, with the camera system and the way the cameras are set up, and especially if you're subject to spatial disorientation, you know, and can still fly a goggle drone, this might really send you over the edge. That's, you know.
Yeah. Bill, a lot of the reviewers of the A1 emphasize that it's an immersive experience. It's almost like they're there looking around. So I think they tried to emphasize that's a much more immersive experience with the 360 than you're flying regular FPV with the Avata 2 or home build or whatever. So I think a lot of reviewers even talk about, to them, it's more about the immersive experience than really the video they're capturing. I mean, they're enjoying just flying the drone more than they really are capturing video that they're going to do anything with later. So that's kind of a unique twist on things that, some of them do mention, you know, those VR headsets, like what's the Apple one called? The Apple has the most expensive one, virtual reality things. But a whole bunch of people have the virtual realities, a whole bunch of, you know, Android companies have them too. But there's a special button in there that you could film video that's going to work with those reality head goggles. You know what I mean? So you could film in a way that people are going to be able to rewatch what you're doing on those goggles. So, I mean, they're really getting this kind of a niche things, Bill. You know, those virtual reality goggles, they're, you know, I mean, they're popular, but they're still a niche product. 360 video is a niche product. Even drones are a niche product. So they're really aiming at a lot of niche products here across the board, Bill.
Yeah, I think you're right, Ron. And with that, we're going to have a Avata 360 and Pocket 4 update. Now, I know our good friend Igor, and I'm not even going to post it because he's posted the same picture again. It was a number of Pocket cameras on a stick, and one of them was the Pocket 4.
Yeah.
Now, with DD Fellows put in the chat, it's almost soon as, even before we began the stream tonight, was saying that he watched a lengthy review of the anti-gravity A1, and that reviewer mentioned that DJI has pushed back the release of the Avata 360 until January.
Lauren has said the product was delayed. Lauren said that over a week ago.
Okay, so now, you know, it really kind of is official. So for those of you who are thinking about looking for that as well, that's not going to be here at this time. But, you know, there still hasn't been any word on the other drone that DJI mentions, and begins with an L.
Yeah. Which Marcus thinks is the DJI equivalent of the what's those drones he reviews on YouTube? You have one of them.
The Sky Rover.
Yeah, he thinks it's the Sky Rover, the S1. He thinks it's the DJI version of the Sky Rover, which
he's probably right. Theory. Yeah, I would agree with him on that. And you know, it's a good product. They build a good solid drone. It's very reliable. Of course, it's all DJI technology in there as well too.
Yeah.
But, you know, remains to be seen if we're going to see that before the end of the year or not, because there hasn't been any more pictures or any kind of information on that. But I wanted to get this out here to make sure everybody was up to date on that and wasn't asking about it, because I know a lot of you were asking about the Avata 360.
Yeah, we know nothing more on that. And Bill, a lot of those drones, like when DJI does a drone where it doesn't really have any new technology in it, sometimes those releases are kind of soft releases. It's not a lot of fanfare towards things like the, you know, I'm trying to think of one off the mini 4K, whatever. They're kind of soft releases. They don't make a big deal over those type of drones that aren't introducing any kind of new technology. And Bill, before we get too far off the Avata 360, do you think DJI, again, they have to incorporate the same kind of 360 technology that Insta360 doing, and their camera costs what, $400 or $500 too? They're in the same price range as this the 360 price, and they have to. I don't know if they have to come up with new goggles for that. Can DJI actually come in at a better price point than anti-gravity, considering they have to somehow get 360 technology in there, and somehow they probably have to upgrade the goggles, because probably the current goggles really aren't made for 360. So I'm thinking, I don't know if they could beat the price point of the A1.
That's, it's going to be really hairy in terms of, and dicey in terms of being able to come in under what anti-gravity is for that. Now, it may fall under, I think it's going to fall under the $2,000 price point, but I think you're going to be looking at a starter package, probably $1,700 and above. And I think, like you mentioned, I think the big thing here is because it's going to incorporate 360 technology, that those goggles are going to have to change, and it's going to be, there's going to be this collective sigh, like, oh no, another pair of
goggles. I got to buy more goggles. Yeah,
I got to buy more goggles.
Pair of DJI goggles. Yeah,
because I know, like you and Johnny and other ones who have the Avata 2 who might be interested in this, like, oh, I could use my goggles from the Avata 2. No.
Yeah. And one thing the community doesn't want, to be collectors of goggles and controllers.
Yeah. Here we are again, we're now goggles for this one, goggles for that one. You keep on moving down the line. It's carrying, it's like proprietary kind of a thing as far as that's concerned.
Bud and Johnny both think the DJI product will be the $12.99. Guys, how do you think they're going to manage that? They have to develop new goggles, especially. I bet you the anti-gravity goggles, I bet you they're even more expensive because of the new 360 technology. Now I understand Bud thinks you could use the goggles we already have, and that would be amazing if they could. I'm no engineer, I don't know if that's possible, but I would take a 50-50 guess that you would have to develop different goggle technology to incorporate 360, because it's not even recording 360. You're seeing the 360 in the goggles. You again, just look at A1 review. You see the 360 as you're flying and filming. So that means the goggles have to be ready for that, right, Bill?
Exactly. And one of the other things that I wanted to say here too is with anti-gravity A1, they had to buy in the technology, so to speak, from Insta360 for the camera system here.
Right.
DJI is going to use its own, okay, because they've developed it in-house for their Osmo 360, okay?
Right.
So they have the technology in-house.
And
so I
think
save
some money, yeah.
They're probably going to save some money in terms of the camera system on here. So I think the price points are going to kind of even out, but I think they're going to kind of be neck and neck. I really think, you're not going to see a significant swing between one or the other. But I still say, when it does come out, and all things being equal, I'm just going to say, we being able to purchase them here. Okay. I think people will buy them left and right before they buy the anti-gravity A1. I really do.
Yeah.
Because I also think too, DJI's gotten its feet wet with 360 technology. Okay. And it's probably getting better in terms of being able to do that processing with the 360. And I know a lot of you guys talked about it. I know Alex was on last night, had some great points talking about the 360. And he said, I'm kind of paraphrasing. Alex, if you're in the chat, welcome. I'm going to kind of paraphrase what he said. It's like he would use it for just a few seconds of B-roll.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
And he's right. Alex is 100% right. And Alex is a fantastic drone flyer. Okay. He does a great job, especially those shots he did of the Panthers arena. I mean, he's done some fantastic shots of that, but he's right. A few seconds of B-roll, and that's going to be about it for something like that.
But as a follow-up on that, the hardest thing to do though, when you're messing with 360 video, it's not easy if you're just making the whole video 360, but when you still have to go in your your 360 software, do all that, and then move that file out in a compatible format to whatever you're editing the main video with. So that's like a two-step. That really gets difficult when you're taking a 360 video and incorporating it in the workflow of a non-360 video. So I mean, you're making the work even harder now. The easiest way is to shoot everything in 360, you know, and not have to go into a couple different editors. So we talked before, you know, to make the kind of video that we're used to making now. He's with us here.
Yep.
You know, it's you know, it's going to be a learning curve. If anybody has never shot 360 video before in their life, and you go into the A1, just be or the DJI product, just be prepared for a learning curve.
Exactly.
For people who are like Alex, who have shot all sorts of 360 video, he has this 360 Spear camera, which is a 360 camera that you can put on the Air 2 and Air 2S. And Bud also has that camera too. They already know all this, the 360 editing, so they can just jump in with 2 feet. But if you're coming in with no 360 experience, Bill, it's going to be a learning curve.
Absolutely right. Now we're going to move on here, and this is something which, you know, it really it's one of these things that kind of came up and snuck up on us by surprise. Yeah. But the Mini 5 Pro is now on Amazon. So, you know, as they say, get it while it's hot. I'm going to throw up an article.
Not only on Amazon, but for $759 to start off.
Exactly. DJI Mini 5 Pro on Amazon, 14 days left to buy before December 23rd deadline. And, you know, the old saying is get it while it's hot kind of a thing here. The Mini 5 Pro drone only is $759. The Fly More combo with the N3 is $959. The Fly More combo with the RC2 is $1,099, and the Fly More combo plus, and that's the extra battery with the RC2, is $1,159. And you know, it's availability in stock. Only 3 left of the N3 in stock, and 1,000 sold this month out on Amazon. Wow. And then, you know, I'm going to go ahead and throw the listing from Amazon up here as well too, just so you can see that. And you know, it's ringing true. I mean, this is exactly what is showing up here, and here it is. You know, $759. You can see right here.
Who's the seller on that drone, Bill?
It has DJI Store.
DJI Store, huh? Wow, that's even more impressive.
Yeah, I'm very, very, very impressed with that. So
Bill, you and I both had that Mini 5 Pro, and you know, if you're just starting out you get the 759 kit. I mean, Bill, we could both speak to that drone as being highly recommended for somebody. In fact, that even for a more advanced user, that drone could be all the drone most people actually need. Bill, you could buy that as a beginner, and you could grow into that drone over the course of a couple of years and still be very happy with it. Bill, do you agree with some of those thoughts?
I agree. I agree 100%. Lauren has a good point. All DJI drones that currently have FCC approval should still be available after the quote unquote ban.
Correct.
And then here's another one. Just spoke to sales rep while at DJI New York City store, and they have everything in stock and will continue to sell most models after the ban. Got my Neo 2 there today. And then Koopy, no, the seller is not DJI Store. The seller is listed below the buy button. Okay. So yeah, he's right. It's Smart Fly Home. Thank you, John. Appreciate that. It's called Smart Fly Home is the seller. Okay. DJI Store is just where it's all gathered together. Okay. But the actual seller is what, and John, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Okay.
And Bill, also the more important thing that arrives before Christmas, actually, if you ordered it today, you could get it Thursday. It would come in 2 days, Bill.
Yeah, it shows free delivery Thursday, December 11th.
Plenty of time to get that thing wrapped up and under the tree, right, Bill?
Absolutely. And you know, if you still wanted to gift one of your favorite drone reviewers with one, you know, who, you know, we would not say no to that. Okay, we would absolutely not say no to that. As far as that's
concerned. I already have one, so get me an anti-gravity A1 instead.
There you go. There you go. But this is, you know, it's, you know, it wasn't just probably last week or 2 weeks ago. People were asking me for links on eBay. Well, here we are, folks. It's come out to the Amazon right now, and it's it's very similar in terms of the pricing structure, very close to what I paid from a South Korean seller out there. Very close. I mean, and what was nice was, the South Korean sellers that I used were ones that, there was no tariff on it. No tariff on it. And what, Ron, an interesting note, what eBay has done out there on these listings, it's embedded in it's kind of like over to the right, and it says in there, seller pays all tariffs. Okay, it says it right in there, so it's real clear and easy to find. I mean, kudos to eBay for kind of keeping up with that. I had a real interesting thing happen to me, okay, from eBay. All right. I ordered some Mini 5 Pro propellers. All right.
Okay.
I ordered them from China, and I'm like, and I ordered them like 2 weeks ago. And I know, it's going to be on the slowest boat possible from China over to Los Angeles and all that. And I get that. And I understand that. Okay. Well, it ends up about a week and a half into it. It showed that the tracking wasn't available. And I got with the seller, and the seller said, it's been lost. So he said, I can either, refund you or send you another. I said, send me another one. Okay. So he sends me another one today. And now I asked specifically, and this is something you guys need to be careful of, especially with propellers, because what they like to do with the propellers is just give you the individual plastic. They're sealed in plastic, but there's no part number on there. So you have no idea if it's an aftermarket or if it's from DJI. Even the printing on the plastic sleeve looks similar.
Yeah.
And I told them, I said, that's one of the questions that I asked this seller out on Amazon. I said, look, I wanted them in the DJI OEM there's a baggie, and then they have cardboard at the top, and it lists the UPC on there, and it lists DJI Mini 5 Pro on it. And so, I sent him a message on that, and he'll probably refund part of my money, which is fine. But I'm going to go out and I'm going to find some more to get on there just to do that, just to let you guys know, when you're looking for things, the more questions you ask before you buy something from a seller on eBay, the better you will be. I know I've given you a lot of tips. I think one of the best ones is, definitely over 100 feedback. If you're under 100 feedback, you're kind of rolling the dice as far as that's concerned. Also, take a look at their feedback specific to the item that you're purchasing. Like if they've sold a large quantity of them, boom, you'll be able to see, how fast they're going. What's amazing to me, Ron, is a lot of these sellers from South Korea use FedEx, okay, and it comes very quickly via FedEx. So kudos to them. But I wanted to kind of give you guys an update as far as that's concerned. Now, there's a from Drone Supremacy, and I'm gonna throw this up here. It's kind of a long-term review on the Mini 5 Pro, and I wanted to go over this here. Then we got something else to talk about. But basically, what you're actually buying, it kind of gets into some of the details and the specs right here. Camera performance, where it actually shines. And he talks about that. The 48 millimeter medium telephoto mode, which is really good. Real world usability. The battery life problem, and that's one thing he really focused in. Billy Kyle got 25 to 30 minutes. Raphael's battery test at high altitude yielded 29 minutes. Nobody's hitting the 36-minute mark in real world conditions. And I want to stop right there. I know Joe Supremacy, he's a great guy, does great reviews. Okay. But Ron, realistically speaking, okay, it's going to be different for everybody out there. Okay. Your conditions are going to be where you're at, and Margate is going to be different from how it is down here in Riverview, Florida, to how it is for Marcus over at the Snake River Canyon, over to Johnny down in Hammond, Louisiana. It's going to be different for everybody, okay? And these different conditions are going to kind of dictate that battery life as far as that's concerned. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's so based on conditions or whatever that it's going to vary so much. And I think we've tried to educate people as much as you can over the years, Bill, that don't, whatever it says on the side of the box as the flight time, don't ever expect to see that in real life, Bill. That's never going to happen.
Oh, no. Yeah. And, and then we have a drone royalty in the chat. Mr. Marcus Crawford is in the chat.
Marcus and John Coopy's here too. We got a lot
And
of big
Koopy
names out
is
here.
here today too. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Johnny Joe Flyer.
all right. Okay. So, kind of like FYI on that, I wanted to.
Mike Wright joined us too.
And Michael Wright is here. Welcome, Michael. Good to see you. Okay. A couple of other things that I wanted to kind of go over here, and at the end here, and this is kind of they use the same picture, but it's a different article here, and let me see here. Okay. Okay. Yeah, DJI 0 hours almost here. And Ron, I don't know if you saw this, and I asked people at the beginning of the movie, and they didn't know the answer to this question, which I thought was very interesting. Okay. Have you ever seen the movie 0 Hour?
Oh, I thought you were going to say Zero Dark 30. I've seen that, but I haven't seen 0 Hour.
Okay, 0 Hour was with Dana Andrews. Okay, and it was based in Canada.
I know, an old movie. Okay,
you gotta
be an old guy. I know who Dana Andrews is.
Okay, and the two pilots had fish for dinner, and they both got food poisoning from it. Okay, his name was, and I thought people might catch on to this. The pilot, it was a fighter in World War II. He had caused some other planes to other pilots to die. Ted Stryker. Okay, that should have been a real clue there because that was from the movie Airplane. Okay, that's what the movie Airplane was based on. It's an old 1950s movie, and the only other person I recognized in it was the guy that played the dentist, the next door neighbor of Dick Van Dyke in the old Dick Van Dyke Show, was in the movie too.
Oh wow! Huh.
But it was a well done movie, and again, it was a movie that Airplane was based on. But I'm using 0 Hour here, just in kind of this reference here. Now I want to go over this article here a little bit, and I kind of want to offer some thoughts as far as that's concerned here. Okay, DJI makes last ditch plea to U.S. security chiefs as a ban deadline nears. Okay, at stake is nothing less than the company's ability to bring any new drone or other imaging gear into the United States market starting December 23rd. Okay, review isn't completed. If DJI fails it, the company be added to the Federal Communications covered entity list, the same blacklist used to restrict the sale of Chinese-made telecom gear from companies like Huawei and ZTE. Okay, in practice, this would mean no new DJI drones can't get FCC equipment authorization, effectively blocking their sale in the United States. Okay. Moving on here, DJI says it has been trying since March to get the audit scheduled, and according to the letter sent December 1st to the Department of Homeland, to all the alphabet there, those attempts have been met with silence. A countdown DJI can't control. The NDAA Section 1709 requires the federal government conduct a security review of the communications and video surveillance technology made by DJI and Autel. If no U.S. agency steps forward to conduct the audit by December 23rd, both companies are automatically placed on the FCC covered list. The automatic language is what has DJI scrambling. In a letter to DHS Secretary Christine Ohm, DJI reminds the department that DHS indicated through written communication in September that it was willing to undertake the review, but nothing has happened since, and the clock is ticking. With less than 1 month left, we urge the Department of Homeland Security to take up the audit immediately. Okay. And the stakes aren't small, and we all know that. To DHS and other agencies, DJI cites at least 6 independent government-led audits, including Booz Allen Hamilton in 2020, 2 separate cybersecurity evaluations by FTI Consulting, Kiwi Consulting, Data Security Validation, TUV SUD's Technical Security Assessment, a data security review by the U.S. Department of the Interior, an evaluation by the Idaho National Laboratory at DHS direction here.
Company says hey, Idaho, maybe Marcus has something to do with that one.
Absolutely. And Dr. Ted too. DJI also highlighted an extensive set of cybersecurity certification and compliance benchmarks. And they list them all here as well too. DJI leans heavily on the idea that users have full control over their data. A key concern the U.S. lawmakers cite when arguing DJI products may expose risks to national security. DJI emphasizes that U.S. users cannot sync flight logs to DJI servers at all. Photos and videos are never uploaded automatically. Pilots can fly entirely offline using local data mode, which severs the connection between the flight app and the internet. users can disable the DJI Flight app entirely and use third-party US software. The company sums up its posture this way: we stand behind the security of our technology and are ready to respond to and mitigate any specific vulnerabilities that may be identified if given a far right of reply. And there's silence from Washington right here. And December 23rd, FCC deadline is just the next domino in a policy landscape that has been shifting for years. For now, the world's dominant drone maker can only wait for Washington's next move and keep sending letters. Okay. And, and I watched last night and I listened to a lot of reactions and I've listened to Marcus's reaction, Johnny as well. And a lot of people are like, it's pretty much a done deal. It's going to happen. That's it. We're out of options here. And I get it. And I understand that. And, I just want to pass something on here. And this is just me. Okay. And I'm putting this up here called Christmas Miracle to combine this. And I want to tell you guys of a little story here. Okay. Back in December of 2010, all right, I was single. I wasn't married yet. I had been going through the dating go round. Okay. And it was a dating go round. Let me tell you, I dated dozens of women. Okay. From the time I got divorced till the time I met Valerie. I mean, it was like this never ending go round. All right. Well, Christmas Eve in 2010, the kids were with their mom. So I was by myself Christmas Eve. And I literally had one of those experiences that I got in the middle of the floor and I literally, my heart was ripping apart because I really wanted to find a soulmate. And I basically poured my heart out to God and asked for a soulmate. And what happened was, I got off of all other dating sites except one called Christian Mingle. And, Christmas Day, the kids came, we had a good time and everything, but it wasn't much long. It wasn't probably about the first 10 days of January. I got contact from a user by the name of Virtuous 24/7 365. And she lived outside of Tampa, Florida. And we started chatting. And then we exchanged phone numbers. And then I called her. And then we started talking so much on the phone that this person had to go and use a second cordless phone, because the other one was running out of charge so much. And then it was arranged that late in December that I would fly down to Tampa for a weekend and that we would meet. Well, it just so happened to be, it really was one of those things called love at first sight. And, I met Valerie, and this is a true story. 15 days later on on February 11th, we got married. That's not a typo. 15 days later, we went to the courthouse and we got married, and we've been married. We're coming up on 15 years. Okay. It was my miracle, guys. Okay. Because not long after that, I had been unemployed for 3 years. Nationwide Insurance let me go, and it was devastating to me. I'd been there for like 15 years, and I went through all my savings, unemployment, everything, and I was like at my wit's end. Well, sure enough, it wasn't more than 3 months after we got married, I had my first job, and then a couple of years later, I ended up getting the job that I have today with Publix. So it was a miracle to me. All right, and I still believe that these kind of things happen. Okay, you hear stories like this every day. Now, I know I'm being like maybe overly dramatic or something like that, but I want you guys to understand something. Okay, if it doesn't happen, that's fine. I think we're all prepared for it. I've prepared for it. I know a lot of you guys have done that as well, gotten some extra batteries and props and things like that. But the one thing that I want to pass on to all of you is, okay, they still do happen. All right. And I think, if it does happen, let's be really thankful and really let's. And the other thing that I'm bound to determine, if by some chance we do have a miracle, or that we do get out on the other side of this at a certain point in time, that we need to form an organization. And I hate to use them for an example, but like the NRA, okay, or something like the AMA for radio controlled planes, and something like the ARRL that I have for ham radio, an organization to represent us, especially before Congress, and look out for our best interests and make sure that laws are done right, that kind of a thing. I think that's the thing. I think if we had something like that, Ron, I think it would have made a big difference for us.
Yeah, I agree. And you talk about not giving up hope. Remember, TikTok was in this situation not that long ago, where TikTok was about to go offline, and all it took was one person, the president, to say no, don't do it.
Yeah,
I mean, right? TikTok was on. They were on what do you call, like, they were on like death row or whatever, right? They were like hours away from being gone, and they
the
were saying,
hangman was ready to pull the lever.
"Yep, yep, yep." So,
That's
and
exactly
they're
what it
still
was here.
today. TikTok's still around today.
Well, you know what? It is that time of the show. And we're gonna, for those of you, the drone portion has officially ended. So if you want to, you're welcome to sign off. And thank you for those of you participating in a great chat tonight. It was fantastic. Okay. We're now going to be focusing on our talk on Steeler Nation here that we do now at the top of the hour after the show is officially over.
The first place Pittsburgh Steelers.
The first place Pittsburgh Steelers. But I'm going to say something, Ron, and it's something that I posted out there to all my friends from Pittsburgh, and they replied back with the laughing, hilariously laughing emoticons. But it's true. I said, you know what? The Pittsburgh Steelers found a team that was worse than them. Okay, the Baltimore Ravens. Ron, I had no idea how bad the Ravens were until I watched that game. I mean, that's not the Lamar Jackson from 2 years ago. Okay, that injury, he is not the same. He's not the same quarterback. Okay,
he's not running like he used to, Bill.
No, he's not. And just the whole team is not the same as it was 2 years ago. Okay. And unbeknownst to me, and I did some digging.
Even last year, they were real good.
The people, Baltimore fans, have been vocal and vehement, and they want Harbaugh fired like we want Tomlin fired. Okay. But there's a whole contingent. There's a / fire Harbaugh thing going on there, hashtag going on. They want to get rid of Harbaugh.
Well, they had the same thing. They have some great regular seasons. They make it to the playoffs, and then they run into either Kansas City or Buffalo, and they go home.
Yeah.
And Bill, it's funny you mentioned that. They made a big deal on one of the news things that a Harbaugh versus Tomlin is the second longest running coaching battle. You have to go all the way back to Curly Lambeau from Green Bay and George Papa Bear House from the Bears. They're the only ones that have met more, more meetups and whatever than Tomlin and Harbaugh.
Exactly. Yeah, I did see that, and that was a very interesting stat.
Of course, both Papa Bear and Curly Lambeau won a lot more championships than either Tomlin or Harbaugh.
Oh yeah. And here's my prediction. Okay. Now here's who they have coming up. Okay.
I was gonna say I looked at that today too. They have two road games and 2 home games.
Right. The next home game is Monday night against the Dolphins, and
which I thought I chalked that to an easy win, but then I looked, the Dolphins are in a 4-game run here. They won 4 in a row. I mean, of course,
it's like you roll the dice with them.
Some of those wins have been the Jets, the Saints. They've been beating the dregs of the league for the most part, but still 4 wins is still 4 wins.
You roll the dice with the Dolphins, Ron. You have no idea, what you're going to get. Absolutely no idea. But the Steelers are going to be wearing their color rush jerseys. It's that all black with the yellow numbers, which personally it's one of my favorite jerseys that they wear. I really
is that
really,
their lucky
really
jerseys?
Like
that. Is that their lucky jerseys?
Yeah, and it's the numbers are all it's a stretch. It's like a normal number, but all in gold, and then the rest is all black, and the pants are all black too. So
okay, well, let's give them a win with those jerseys at home on Monday night. So now they're up to 8-6.
They're historically have done well with that. Then they go to play Detroit. Okay, Detroit has been up and down this season, but I see them. Detroit is going to bear down and focus and try to get into the playoffs. And I think Detroit's going to win that game.
Okay, we'll give Detroit the win at home there. So now they're 8-7.
Now they're 8-7. The next game is against the Browns, and that's away.
Another cellar dweller, 3-win team.
And I hate to say this, I think they'll win, but you don't know. You
Hey,
just
did you see what happened this weekend? They played Tennessee, another terrible team, but Sanders, the quarterback, he played like one of the best performances of the year. Like in fantasy points, he scored like 4 points. He had 3 throwing TDs. He ran for a TD. He threw for almost 400 yards. And the only reason they lost the game is they went for 2 points at the end. The coach ran the dumbest play of all time or whatever. Took Sanders off the field and snapped the ball directly to the halfback, and it was the dumbest play of all time. But how about Sanders? 5th-round pick. And remember, I said the Steelers, maybe they should have grabbed Sanders in the 5th round. And
yeah.
and a guy, I think it was his second start. I think it was his 3rd game, second start. And already he puts up like one of the best performances of the year. That kind of bodes well for him, right?
Absolutely.
So okay, but say they win that game. That game's at home for them. So say they win that, and now they're back up to 9-7.
They're up to 9-7. Okay.
And then they play the Ravens, on the
at
road
home
in Baltimore.
They play because they were in Baltimore this weekend. So that game, the
Okay.
last game of the year, is at home. Okay, against the Ravens.
Okay.
I'm going to say the Ravens are going to win that one. Okay,
But
so
then that's 9-8. But the Ravens
9-8.
The Ravens only have 6 wins. So that means the Ravens have to win that game and 2 others that equal Pittsburgh, and then it comes down to a tiebreaker.
Right. And I don't see that happening. Okay, 9-8. They'll win the division. Okay, this is it's real interesting because I've been putting up there when I've been posting Steelers stuff out there. Wash, rinse, repeat. Okay, the old shampoo bottle instructions. Okay, we're gonna see. Here's what's gonna happen. They'll finish 8-8 or 9-8. Okay, first round in the playoffs. Buffalo Bills up in Buffalo. Okay, here's my prediction. Okay, this time around, 42-3. It will be a total. It won't be a whiteout. It'll be a wipeout. Okay, it will be an annihilation, Ron. Their tail.
Even if they get a better seeding, even if they wind up they could possibly go and play in Denver, or they could possibly go play in New England. So none of those scenarios are good for them, right?
Right. None of them are good. Okay. It's probably going to be Buffalo, is what I imagine, but it may be New England as well. But none of them are good.
Denver has that stifling defense.
No, none of them are good, Ron. Okay. The Steelers historically in Denver have been, whether it was at old Mile High Stadium or their new stadium. Okay. They historically have not played well there. Okay. I think one of the best games that they played there was when they won the AFC Championship back for Super Bowl 40. Okay. That was the year the Steelers went to the Super Bowl and won. They were a wild card team. They had played all their playoff games were on the road. They didn't have any home games that year, as far as that's concerned. If they play New England, they've had a horrible record of playing up in New England for playoffs.
That's due to a lot of Tom Brady, though.
Well, yeah, that's a lot of Tom Brady. But you got to give Vrabel a lot of credit. He has really turned that team around.
Yeah, well, Denver is no easy thing there. Their coach has a lot of experience in Denver too. You're not going to kind of outsmart what's his name too much in
Sean
Denver.
Payton, no, you're not going to outsmart him. And same with Vrabel. Vrabel is spot on as far as that's concerned. And and I watched, and like I do, it's typical. You could go back 2 or 3 years to videotape after Tomlin has won a game near the end of the season. Look at us, and he was being arrogant and cocky after the game and everything. And I was like, man, dude, I said, you know what? You're just, no, pride cometh before a fall. My mom used to always say.
And a week before, there were rumors that he could be out. They said some people are saying they thought he was going to go to Penn State. He'd be a good fit for Penn State.
Yeah, Dre, I agree. They're not the world beaters they were last year. I agree 100%.
But they're not. But guess what? They've been coming on. They've been playing better lately.
Yeah.
And did you see Josh Allen's stats last week? Josh Allen killed people in fantasy football. He threw for 400 yards, ran for another 60-some yards, scored a whole bunch of TDs. Josh Allen was lights out again. And the Steelers, sometimes their secondary has trouble, right, against quarterbacks like Josh Allen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what, how they fared against the Bills? They ran that same run play the whole game, Ron. And what, the Bills set a record for most running yards by an opponent at Acrisure Stadium ever. Okay, since they opened it up in 2011. I mean, 15 years. It's and they couldn't figure. I mean, it's like they kept doing the same thing, and they couldn't stop them.
Right. I mean, if eventually, don't you just load the lineup or whatever and dare them to throw the ball?
Yeah.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine like the old Chuck Knowles Steelers that let somebody run like that over, steamroll right over? Could you see Joe Green getting steamrolled like that? Or
that would not have happened. Okay. Well, okay. And somebody brought up the point, and this was a good point to bring up. Okay, especially like with the Buffalo game. Okay, Tomlin's bragging that he has the best defense at the beginning of the season, and it's they're the highest paid defense in the NFL.
Yeah, highest price.
And look what happened to them against Buffalo. I mean, but and even at the end of the Baltimore game, I mean, it was still kind of now. Had the old Lamar been there, the Lamar that still had some foot speed and everything, they would have won that game. Right?
Because I think Derrick Henry he didn't get 100 yards, but Derrick Henry still was close to 100 yards. He was like
he was close. He was close to 100 yards.
And people did say though that they thought Aaron Rodgers played his best game of the season in Baltimore.
He probably did, but again, and this is something what's really interesting.
What's going on with your all-star receiver? He was supposedly had stomach problems. Was in the hospital in Baltimore after the game.
Yeah, I saw that, and I'm like, what the heck? Maybe
you can't afford to have him out because your other receivers aren't really the kind of guys that can get much done, right?
The whole offense is predicated on him, Ron, on Metcalf. I mean, it's just that's the way that is. I mean, the whole offense is built around him. Arthur Smith will probably lose the rest of his hair trying to figure out how to compensate for him if he's not available. But they have an extra day. I mean, the game's on Monday night, so that's kind of a good thing. I'm going to follow up on that tomorrow and see how he's doing as far as that's concerned. But yeah, I see them going. I see them 9-8. I see them winning the division. And Dre said they may get somebody other than Buffalo, and it's probably true. My guess is they'll probably get New England, and it will not be pretty. Okay, it will not.
We talked about this before. Basically, they put a team together that's good enough to just make the playoffs every year, but that just gets you a ticket to play the best team in the conference. A free ticket, to go up and get your butt kicked, and then go home for the season, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I did see some writers posted some articles, which was real interesting, that the Steelers could finish at 7-9 and still win the division. I mean, and things like that.
We know Cleveland's not going to win it, and we know who's the other. We know Cincinnati and Cleveland aren't going to win it. So
it's only Baltimore and Pittsburgh. Ravens,
I mean, they're probably in worse shape than the Steelers. Their defense is leaky.
Baltimore's defense is not
playing well. I mean,
Lamar's not playing well, and I think they're probably going to write off the season. I don't, and they won't go anywhere. I mean, if they leapfrog the Steelers, it'll be the same. Whoever wins the division, they're going to be one and done in the playoffs. Okay, that's kind of for sure as far as that's concerned. I mean, and as far as who's going to win it all this year, I have no clue. I have zero clue. Who's gonna?
Because I mean, you can't put your trust in New England and Denver because they kind of weren't there before. We don't know what to expect from them when they get tested. Play okay, but Bill, I don't want to play this clip because we got in trouble last time we played a clip. But did you see what happened last night in the Eagles game? We had NFL first. In the same play, Jalen Hurts threw an interception and fumbled. Now let me explain that. He threw an interception to the Chargers. The Charger gentleman who was intercepted started running the ball back. He fumbled. Hurts picked the fumble up. He started running with it. He fumbled or whatever again. So this is all in the same play. So Hurts is the only person ever threw an interception and fumble on the same play. And in fantasy football, like I forget, he lost like 4 points for people's fantasy teams on one play. I mean, I know somebody played him against me, like he lost 4 points per game. I've never faced a quarterback before in fantasy where the quarterback was in a negative before. Because Hurts went on to throw 3 more interceptions. He tied a fiddle 4 interceptions. But he had one of the worst fantasy things of all time. And again, one play cost you 4 points. It'll be one of those little living in football follies for years, Bill.
Wow.
I would love to play that clip tonight, but it would get us in trouble.
Yeah. And that's not one, you know, it's kind of that's
And
kind
here
of
go the
where things
Eagles.
are.
The Eagles, of course, they took that bad loss, you know, to the Bears Thanksgiving weekend. So they come back here. Their defense plays superb, Bill. They shut the Chargers down almost everything they tried to do, but the offense just couldn't get it in gear. So they wound up going into overtime, and they, you know, and Chargers scored a field goal, and then they were driving down. Looked like they were going to get a field goal or touchdown, but instead of being careful with the ball, when you could kick the field goal that would tie the game, Hurst throws a pass. I don't know what was going on, but it gets intercepted. The game's immediately over. But why do you take a chance of losing a game where you were already in field goal position, throwing a pass that had no chance of being completed, let alone intercepted or whatever, the end of the game? I mean, you talk about coaching at the end of the game, match at the end of the game. That it was just, you'd have hated to see that, Bill. It was poor end of game management.
Oh yeah. That's exactly what that was. I mean, that you just
Bill, I hate to say it, they pulled a Talman at the end of that
they
game.
pulled a Tomlin exactly. Okay, if anybody could snatch a loss out of a win, that's Mike Tomlin.
Hey, Bill,
right there.
we had a can at or get that somehow. You know what do you call it? Certified, so we get money every time somebody said you pulled a Talman. We could send that to all the announcers.
Absolutely. Any closing thoughts here, Ron, before we wrap things
No,
up?
I mean, you know, just you know, again, if the DJI 360 drone is delayed until January, we're going to have not a whole lot to talk about. Maybe the Pocket 4 will sneak out. I mean, you know, I don't know how excited I'm about the Pocket 4. I mean, I don't really feel like I need two cameras, but we'll see. What I'm not being negative. We'll see how good it is, what it has to offer. They say possibly 6K video. So yeah, I mean, we'll take a look at it, but you know, I'm real happy with my current Pocket 3. So as far as drones, I mean, the A1, Bill, it seems like the people that had got the drone for free, the influencers, whatever, they love the drone. I haven't seen any bad reviews of the A1, but it seems like the end users like us, our drone community, it seems like it's total disinterest in this drone or whatever. I mean, I guess only the people who already have 360 cameras have any interest in this drone at all. So I feel bad for them. I hope they were prepared that they were making a niche product that you were going to get a lot of sales on. You know what I'm saying? Or otherwise, we'll never see an A2.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's my thoughts. So, folks, have a great week. You know, starting, you know, get ready, enjoying your holidays early, get your Christmas shopping done. And but we'll be back for another show next week, won't we, Bill?
Yeah, and we're going to be back on the 23rd to wrap things up right before Christmas too. That's going to be the day.
Okay.
Couple of things for me. At Arama, I got a notification that it shipped DJI Osmo 6 Adventure Combo. So, so that's on its way, and I paid retail for it. It wasn't above and beyond, which was a good deal. So that's on its way to me as far as that's concerned. You know, I got some videos in the pipeline. I got a Mavic 4 video coming up. I got a Mavic 3 Pro video coming out that I have the RC Pro controller with, which I love that controller as well. So that's going to be coming up. You know, like I said, some things in the pipeline there as far as that's concerned. So just want everybody, just, you know, take time out, spend time with family, friends, enjoy yourselves, have fun this time of year. That's what it's all about. And relax and chill out and be thankful for your blessings and what you have. And we'll talk a little bit more about that coming up in the following weeks. But thank you guys for hanging on for a few minutes afterwards for allow us to talk football. We thank you guys so much for always a great and excellent chat. As always, guys, it's a great day to fly. Take care, everybody.
Good night, folks.